Okay, Georgia with a 31-17 win over the Vols. I thought it was a really big win for Georgia, and I did not think they were going to win this game at the start of it. They were not the better team, period. Matt's going to jump in some here too with me. I'm going to stay away. My mic is not great right now, so I'm just showing y'all the background, and maybe we'll move around a little bit. Look, I texted, and Matt can vouch for this. I texted everybody before the game, or like, I can't remember what time it was exactly, but I texted everybody saying, if Carson doesn't do it, it's not happening. Like, it was time. It was time to do it with Carson. He had to do this because nobody else. The run game wasn't there at the start. Nate Frazier really had a good game. He only had 68 yards, but he had a really good game. I'm just going to say that. There were some moments when he had some blocks. If they can trust him, that'll change this team. The tight ends freaking killed Tennessee. They killed them. And listen, this was a coming of age for Carson Beck. I know this is a long way from coming of age. The guy's been around here for 5 years, but he needed this game because people were going to, just have a lot to say about him. And this is what he is capable of. There were some not great moments from him, but I really don't feel like I should have to justify saying he played well. He played really well. And, he was the reason they won, period. The first down with his legs, it was way more Stequavius than it was Carson. And so Carquavius was out tonight. And it was impressive, man. This is the Georgia team that I've been sort of, thinking. But I thought in the first 10 minutes of this game, maybe even the first quarter, I was like, they're going to lose this game. But they really did, I wouldn't say smother Tennessee. They didn't score in the second half. I thought that was a huge, step forward for this team. But again, Tennessee goes on the road. They struggle to score on the road. This is the first team that scored 30 on them in conference play or the entire season. Georgia went for 453 yards against a defense that is a really good defense. I didn't get a chance to ask Kirby this because he was so quick tonight. But, let me just go through this real quick because I can see what's happening here. I'm going to say this on riding home too. And it's just, it's not right. Tennessee's going to get left out of the playoff. And that is really wrong. Now, maybe me jumping the gun here a little bit if they were to lose a game, but if they're 10-2, it is not right for them to basically lose a 2-score game because Georgia scored in the last 3 minutes of the game and act like they're not one of the best 12 teams in the country, or act like they're not one of the best. They would beat Indiana. They would probably whip Indiana. They would beat Penn State. And after tonight, I'd take my chances with any Big Ten team in Tennessee. I'd take my chances with any Big Ten team in Alabama. If this is just going to be about, and Kirby talked about this at the end, if this is only going to be about, who did you lose? And what the hell are we playing difficult games for? Why did Tennessee go and schedule NC State? What's the point, right? I mean, again, to reiterate, who's better, Georgia, Alabama, or Tennessee? We don't know the answer to that. Oh, it's Alabama. Well, they lost to Tennessee. Well, they lost to Georgia, and then Tennessee lost to Georgia. Well, what happened in all 3 of those games? Alabama hosted Georgia and won. Tennessee hosted Alabama and won. Georgia hosted Tennessee and won. Now, I think the cumulative score is probably Georgia maybe slightly better than everybody else because Alabama lost by 7. I'm trying to think in my brain what it was. It was tighter. This double-digit win, I don't think any of the other ones were double-digit. Georgia lost by 7 or whatever it was to Alabama. So my point is, why are we even bothering doing math here? Put the correct teams in. Stop the foolishness, okay? We don't need to see, and I'm recording BYU. I don't need any BYU updates, Matt. Matt's pushing it right now. But Colorado, to me, honestly, looks like the best team of the Big 12. What would Colorado's record be in the SEC? Didn't they get thumped by Nebraska earlier this season? Nebraska sucks. So we're gonna really do all this. I watched Clemson today, man. Damn, Georgia doesn't need to be talking about Clemson anymore. They are rough right now, and they won. Hey, kudos to South Carolina. They won too. And I apologize for not having my microphone. This is what it's like after games. But Ryan is using my mic, and so it is what it is. But look, this was Carson Beck's coming out. Hey, Nico, bro, the guy gutted it out. He got popped a lot at the end of that game. I thought he got hurt at the end of the game when Jalen Walker hurt. And I don't need to see that. Squirrel White, great game. Tennessee's a good team. They're just good, you know. That running back is legit. He's a problem for sure. He only went, Matt, for 101. And I said this the whole week because I suspected the only time I suspected Georgia would not win this game was when I watched them play the first quarter. I was like, Tennessee's better than Georgia. They were just going to lose to the team that was better than them. But I want to give complete and total credit to this coaching staff because a couple of things. Just the straight up coaching, like scheming and all that stuff. Like, I don't know anything about that, okay? I'm not ever going to act like I do. Well, I probably might, but let's just keep in mind that I have no idea what I'm talking about on that front. But, you know, we were in Oxford. It was tough. They got the field rushed on them twice. They're out there having some idiot screaming at them. You know, it was not a good day to be. It was not an ideal situation. And then you turn around 7 days. I thought the crowd was good, but I'm going to be picky. I thought it was good, and I think it can be better. Now, that's just me. With that said, good was really good enough because twice it forced a Tennessee punt. Not sure I understood why Josh Heupel punted at his 36, at the Georgia 36. I'm not sure I understand in the second half.
Is that when he took a delay of game?
He took a delay in the third quarter, and I was like, oh, man, you know.
They just couldn't dial up a play.
Yeah, but, I mean, I would have tried. I don't know. I know what he was doing. The guy he's done a really good job at Tennessee. So I got nothing bad to say about Tennessee at all. They're a legit team, but this became a straight up, you know, Mark Richt, Phil Fulmer game in the second half where these guys were just slamming each other in the head the whole time. And I got to see, I said hello to Tavares King, but everybody was here tonight. No Sean, David Green. Marlo Herrera, you're doing great, okay? I only got to speak to you briefly. But you watch these guys. These guys are dads now. They own their own businesses. They're doing different things. And one thing that Kirby said tonight, which is completely true, and I can say this after you know playing sports and losing in college, is that is a tough thing. And we were never under the microscope the way these guys are. I can't do the blower. That's not going to work. So walk and talk. But what did you make of it, Matt? Come on.
I mean, they went on a 31-7 run.
Yeah,
I mean, they dominated second, third, and fourth quarter. Listen, season on the line, and they stepped up, and they did what they had to do. The offense made plays. You got to give a lot of credit to Carson Beck, Mike Bobo, Kirby Smart.
Man, Mike was pumped up.
Yeah, as they deserve to be. 8th win in a row against these guys, and that's a good team. They made Georgia earn it, and Georgia played very well in all three aspects of the game. They were the better team. They executed. They were the better coach team.
That's such an ancillary noise out here. Maybe we can go in here. It was just tight, man. That was a tight ball game. I think you were more right about it than I was. I really suspected
I thought it'd be a little more low scoring.
Well, I thought that Georgia would kind of grab a hold of it and go, and that did not happen at all. Okay, we're gonna have to, yeah. I thought they were gonna. I thought that was what was gonna happen, but it didn't, and that was important. Do you mind if we record in here? Do you mind if we were? So that means no, we can't do it. Is that right?
Yeah, you're good to record, or yeah, you can't.
I don't know. She didn't want us in there, and that's fine. But this is what it's like after games, and there's just nowhere to. With the problem, and I mean, I understand what Georgia's doing. The problem is that you can't, with the blower is insane, and you can't deal. It's just too much. But Maybe we'll just sit right here or try to sit.
Rocket in the bowels of.
Yeah, so this is what underneath Sanford looks like, by the way. This is the 100 level right above us here. But I thought, Matt, it was a good win. I think that, well, it will go down as a really good win.
It's a top 10 win.
It legitimately is a top 10 win, and they are barrel. I mean, can they miss the play? They'd have to lose to Tech.
Yeah, if they beat Tech, I think they're in.
Yeah.
I don't see how you could leave this team out.
No,
if they beat
not the way that they have played, and not the amount of wins, and the win over Texas, and this
be
other
another video,
other.
but Kirby had a lot to say about the committee, and
He was right.
not knowing what they're looking for, and this
He's
and that.
right.
So
I mean,
make sure you're tuned in and watch that other video we got.
He's right, and what are we doing that he's right with what he said, and I'm right with what I'm saying about Tennessee. It's not right. None of this is right. Let's just go in here. Or try to go in here. I got to figure this all out. Here. Yeah, this will be fine for now. Just one-time deal, because we can't, even with the mic, it would be bad. But to me, man, I mean,
I don't think anything less than Tennessee after this.
no, that was a great. But they're going to
finish.
get punished. See, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
No.
And that they are the team that they are.
You finish off. All right.
That Tennessee is having the season they're having. Now they got one win. That's the problem. But what is Texas's win at this stage? I don't want to I've already over focused on that, but the tight ends. Just real quick here, math. Oscar and Urosic with 11 targets, 9 catches, that's 105 yards, 40 of them after yards after catch, 2 touchdowns. Those two played really well. Lennon Humphreys, really good play. Dom Lovett got them going. Brett Thorson with a bad punt and a great tackle, and that stopped Tennessee from scoring a touchdown. That made a huge difference for this team. I mean, listen, I think for me, there's only so many big wins. The Texas game was a big win. This is a big win. Had they beaten Ole Miss, it would have been a good win. It would not have been the same as what they did tonight, because tonight it was all on the line, man. All of it was on the line, and they were facing a team that, that it never felt like Tennessee was out of that game until Georgia scored and went up 14. Then they were in just dire straits at that point. I thought the crowd was good. I've seen it better, but it was really, 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 really good. Now I've been to a lot of football games at Sanford Stadium, probably more than anybody not named Claude Felton, Vince Dooley. In the 2000s, Claude, probably Dash, maybe. I've been to a lot of games, and there's not a lot of people that have been to as many games as I've been to at Sanford. And this was a really, 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 really good crowd. It was not Notre Dame. It was not LSU 2013. It was not 2022 Tennessee, but it was close. And it didn't matter if it was close or not, or better or not, or whatever. It got the job done tonight. And I think that the students, you're doing your part. And everybody else pretty much is too. But, the slow start didn't help Georgia, man. This crowd was geeked up, ready to roll. I remember if it was a 3. It was a 3 and out. I mean, Aaron's got to catch that ball. But other than that, he really had a good night too. So, I mean, this is going to be a different Georgia team when they play, perhaps Tech, but definitely when they play in the playoff, if they go into the playoff. Honestly, I don't know if they if they lost to Miami, if Miami's loss to Georgia Tech only cost Miami X amount of spots, why would it cost Georgia? I mean, Georgia should be in front of Tennessee now, you would imagine. If Georgia's behind Alabama, Ole Miss, Alabama, Tennessee, and Ole Miss still, what? There's got to be an explanation for some of these things. I think Ole Miss comes into a challenging situation having to go to the swamp now. That didn't look like a hard game. I thought LSU could lose that game. I think Ole Miss could lose at the Swamp. I don't think they will. I think they can. I think they are more likely to lose at the Swamp than Georgia is to lose to Tech. So I don't, the Tech game, Brent Key has done a really good job. Josh Heupel has done a better job at Tennessee, but Brent Key had a mess on his hands. And now with the Jackets, they're a legitimate team. They are something that can beat Georgia. And the only time they've won this century has been in Athens, not in Atlanta. So, but I will add now. You see Tate Ratledge. So Georgia ran for 106 with a really banged up running back situation. It was bad. I mean, Dylan Bell was their fourth leading rusher. So and he didn't play half the game. So that's where we're at. The Carson Beck running the ball, it's probably time to keep that in the offense. I mean, I know Mike knows a lot more about these things than I do, but and then to the booing at the beginning of the game, people pay their money. They need to be able to express themselves however they want. I think Mike called a great game today. I don't know that there were a lot of points left on the board, but Georgia, 453 yards. They had almost 130 yards more than Tennessee with one fewer play. They went from getting outplayed to outplaying Tennessee, and I think the penalties were relatively costly to Georgia. They were pretty costly to Tennessee, though. Georgia 5 for 5 in the red zone. They were really good in the red zone scoring, and when it got down to this was a big win for Georgia, and I think that I think it's a big win because of what it means for the future. Now, if you have to go travel, I think that's unfair. But I think the consideration, the way that we're judging who's traveling and not is wrong. That's wrong. Because apparently it's just, who has the fewest losses? Oh, it's Texas. Texas has a one loss fewer than Georgia. Well, Texas didn't play Tennessee. Texas hasn't played Alabama. Okay, and they got to play Texas A&M. But let's be honest. They basically are going to get away with playing Georgia and Texas A&M. They'll have a relatively difficult time probably with Kentucky like they did with Arkansas, but they're not going to lose that game. And so the notion that now we're going to see Texas in front of Georgia because Georgia played at Alabama, because Georgia played at Ole Miss, because none of these things are equal. That's the problem. We know Georgia went to Alabama. We know that Georgia went to Ole Miss. We know that Georgia went to Texas. We know that Tennessee had to come to Athens. These things need to be considered to some degree. Just because there's numbers out there doesn't mean we lose logic. We are allowed to use our brain. God gave us brains to use, not to set on the sideline when we're allowed to make critical decisions and critically think about things. We should be able to choose. This is an educational situation, college football. These are college kids. We're learning here. It's disappointing what I've seen from the College Playoff Committee. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. And this probably gets Georgia in. But I'm just saying, and I've said it from the start, these guys don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. There's no way. I am very curious to see what they're going to have here. Because at some stage, Indiana's going to lose. Probably to Ohio State, right? And are you going to leave Indiana up, above these SEC schools? It's not right. I don't think any of the SEC schools would lose at Indiana. Okay? I think it might be a close game or a fight or whatever, but these guys are not going to lose to Indiana. They may, I don't know. You go to Notre Dame, you go to Penn State, you go to Ohio State, you go to Oregon. Well, that's a challenging situation, but why are they hosting? Look at what Alabama did at Wisconsin. They slapped them hard the whole game. What did Oregon do? They survived. Now, it's not total judgment because conference games are different and all this. Any week can be different, but Alabama whipped their ass bad. And, Bama's really playing well right now. If they get into the conference championship game, would not surprise me at all to see them win it. But we'll just see how this all turns out. And, I think Ole Miss got a really challenging situation going to the Swamp. And, Alabama should be fine. They should arrive at 10-2. Georgia should arrive at 10-2. Tech will be curious. I don't think it's anything everybody needs to start panicking about like everybody does, like this game. I mean, everybody's got to kind of chill out a little bit and see what it is. Tennessee's a good team. They would have probably played their best game of the season to beat Georgia, and it didn't happen. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Make sure you're signing up for our newsletter, and we'll see you on the next video.